Hey guys, it's Decker here. In today's video, we got another PC case review. And today we're reviewing the Antec C5 ARGB. This is a $109 case, well, $110 depending if you include the change. But this case is interesting because it is a fish tank design that comes with not one, not three, not six, but 7 RGB fans that are all 120 millimeter. So you do not have to buy any additional fans for this actual case, besides if you want to add maybe some additional ones to the top. But the cool thing about this case is that it has a lot of I/O support on top of it here today. And this case is just so interesting that I had to pick it up to review it here today. So let's get into the unboxing. Of course, got my trusty combat knife. We're gonna open this from the top here. With that though, we can open these flaps on the top side of this case. Ooh, that was loud. Now, keep in mind with this case, there's a white version and black version. I grabbed the white version since it looked really appealing, and these RGB fans are just gonna make it extremely nice. I have a few different plans for this actual PC case. I might do a PC build in it and then do a flip video with it. So yeah, if you guys don't want to miss out on those videos, definitely get subscribed, because I definitely want to do something with this, like an all white theme build, because I think it would look really clean. I'm gonna probably say that a lot during this video. With that though, we got access to the case in itself, which looks pretty clean. You can see, of course, our fans of the 3 120s on the side. There are also additional 3 120s on the bottom, and then you can see the additional 120 on the actual back. Spin on around, do a nice 360 look for you guys to see how it looks like once you get it outside of the box. Looks pretty good, to say the very least. So on the back here, we got a few different things. We're gonna open this on up. We can open these 2 pins right here to get access to the back panel. So we're gonna not drop everything. I'll pick that up later. And by opening this, pull the back panel here from this clip here backwards, and then get access to the back side of the case. Then for the front, it's gonna be the same way. You have 2 screws here. You can just unscrew them. Should be able to just do the same thing. Pull from the back here, push it forward, and unclips. Get access to the panel. Fortunately, it doesn't have that cool new thing what a lot of cases are doing, where they have nubs on the side where you can just click it in and out. So I got access to the fronts of the case, and then the actual main panel here, I assume it's the same thing, or maybe it just pops on out. I'm not too entirely sure. By the looks of it, it looks to be the thumbs method I was thinking about earlier with the nubs, where you push to pull it on out. Oh yeah, that's 100% the nub method. So yeah, if you actually pull out this, it comes out with the nubs, which you can see are right here. They go perfect line with it. There is a cable routed to the actual front of the case. So you can actually see there's a cable right there. It's going to the actual front panel, so there might be some form of RGB component here, because you can unscrew all these. You can also check to see where it's running in the back. It looks like it's running to some form of hub in the back, which we'll look in more of that in a little bit details later here. And you can just clip it back on the front like that, which is nice. Also, going back to the whole front thing from earlier, so it looks like there is a slight RGB lit to it. I can't really show you guys the lighting overexposed, but there's a bit of lighting right here on the side of the front of the panel. So that's what that cable was for the front panel. So let's take a closer look inside this PC case. So first of all, you got your RGB fans right here. These are ARGB. All of them are 120. You got 3 here. You got an additional 3 on the bottom, and then you got 1 on the actual back for exhaust, which is awesome. Now, for radiator support, you have support for 360 radiator support on the top, 80 millimeter radiator support on the side here, which is weird because I feel like it's a support 360 since it's got 3 fans, but it doesn't say that on the site, so I might test it later when I do a PC build in it, because I feel like that'd be clean. And then it supports another 360 radiator on the bottom and a 120 on the actual back. So there's a lot of radiator support if you want to do an I/O in this actual chassis. Me personally, what I would probably do is slap in a 360 on the actual top, since there's nothing going on up there. That way you have a good way to cool out your CPUs and a good way to get exhaust out of the actual case. Now for the back side of the case, we got a few different things going on. You can see all of our cables are actually nicely white, besides some of the cables that have that rainbow RGB look to them, which is like the HD audio cable, which is not particularly the best. It is pretty well cable managed back here. There is actually a tray area here for your SSDs. You can put 1 and 2 of them here, and it looks like this piece does actually come on out. So let's remove that real quick. So we're just gonna grab a Phillips screwdriver and unscrew these screws. Carefully set them to the side time being, since we don't particularly want to lose them. Anything with that one, set that there, and now we can remove it. Actually, nope, there's an additional 2 screws right here I have to remove too. Okay, so kind of a hassle to get this one piece out. And with that though, we can set this piece on out and make sure not to lose our screws. Oh, that's cute. We actually have a little board for actually the fans and stuff and the RGB. So of course, when you get open the back here, you do get access to this little tray area, and this tray does have all your screws you need to mount your motherboards and any additional things in here. You can just see your Antec stuff for your case, and then I don't think you can do anything fancy with this. You might be able to put a hard drive in here because it looks like what they have, which I think this is a cool design. If this is what I'm thinking it is, it has 2 SSD spots, right, for your SSDs to screw in. Then on the back side here, it has side screws here. So I'm thinking what you can do is install a hard drive afterward. But let me grab one just to kind of verify my thoughts. So just grab one hard drive and SSD. So like you can slap your SSD here for your actual back screws, which you can see, and then you take your hard drive, and then afterward you install your SSD. So you can just put a hard drive here because the screws do match up. So you can put one hard drive in the actual back, which is really cool. I like that concept. This is a really clever way to save space and install more stuff in one area. So I think that's pretty cool. But we'll just set this now for the time being. We can look at the back for our cables. So we have some good cable management going back here. I do think it's nice that all the cables are white besides like this HD audio cable. I wish the pins were white, but not the worst thing in the world to say the very least. It also look really nice when you do a PC build and you want to have like an all white theme build. You'll have every cable white, but besides maybe like some cables you have to get extensions for your like GPU, CPU, and all that jazz. So for our cables, we have a few different things. First of all, we have our USB 3.2 cable for our actual case. Then on top of that too, we have our HD audio cable for your actual audio. Then you have a Type-C cable, so that way you can have some high-speed bandwidth with this case. And on top of that, you have your reset switch, LED light, power switch, and all that jazz right here. It isn't one of those connectors where it's like all of them connected in one. I thought that might be the case with this case because it's $100, but that's not the case actually with it. On the bottom side here, we actually have this cute little actual fan hub they actually have mounted here, which is pretty nice to see. So you can actually see a few different things with it. You have your like RGB, your fans connected, so that way you don't have to like route all the cables yourself, which would be kind of a pain, but there are some connections here to the actual board itself. So first of all, we have this actual SATA power. This is just the power of the board, so you will need to connect a power supply for your SATA, so that way like you can use that one hard drive and then use this to power it on top of it too, which is cool. And then we actually have the stuff you want to connect to your motherboard. So we have an ARGB header here. Then on top of that, we have a normal fan header that way you connect to your like when your fan ports, so that way you don't have to like plug in 7 different things for each of these fans, which would kind of stink. The interesting thing to keep in mind though is that everything right here is all part of the fan stuff. So I don't know, I just think that's kind of funny, but you can actually see there's an additional 4-port right there. So I can't really show you on camera that great. I'm gonna zoom in right here to show you guys as much as I can. Like right there, there's an additional fan port for like maybe you want to plug in an IO, you need to plug in the fan connector there. You can do that, which is awesome. Unfortunately, there's nothing for like the RGB though, so that's the only thing to keep in mind. Now, for the back side of the case, you can actually see we have our motherboard tray area here for our ITX board, or just for any motherboard you want to actually use in here. And then on top of that, to our power supply area right here as well. So the power supply doesn't go perfectly parallel; it actually goes horizontal into the case for it to actually line on up. So that's pretty cool. Save space that way, and that way you can just like looks clean at the exact same time. And then you can stuff all the other cables right here in the back. That's something cool you can actually do with it, because honestly, routing cables stink. The only thing with it is will kind of be annoying when you have like a hard drive, a few SSDs in here, and then you want to put that piece back, right, with all that stuff. It's going to make it a little bit difficult to stash the cables, but honestly, I think it'll work. I think you'll be able to get everything in there you want, and then you wouldn't have to see it on the actual, I mean, not the back, the front. Because once you put a motherboard in here, you will not see any of those cables whatsoever. Everything will just be stashed back there. Also, the back side of the case here, we got our little trays for the back brackets for the GPU. So these are removable. So all you have to do is take a screwdriver, unscrew like the one you want. Usually it'd be like the 2 and 3 spots for your actual GPU. I'm just gonna remove the one for the time being, just to kind of show you guys. You remove one screw here for one of the brackets you want to remove, and you just pop it on out. But you have to actually unscrew not only that, but this screw right here for the untighten it. So we're just, and with that, oh, I just took it out. Okay, well, cool. I'll have to find the screw in a second here. But besides that though, you just push it inward, pull it on out, and that's how you move a bracket from the back. Then if you want to put it inside the case, you just go back inside the case, slip it back in, then put it back, and then you can screw it back down. And let's take a look at the bottom side of this case. So On the bottom here, we actually have a little magnetic tray for your 3 fans on the bottom for like collecting dust. There's also some additional screw stuff back here, but I don't think it's anything you need to worry about. The only thing is like this stuff here, this is to remove those fans on the bottom, so you can do it here. So that's nice to see. You don't have to go like inside the case to remove them, because sometimes you have to go like in a weird spot to unscrew your fans. And then if you want to unscrew the fans for the actual side of the case, you can actually do it right here in the back. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The top ones are kind of in a weird spot though. They're like right under this one connector for the USB port, so that's gonna kind of stink. And same thing here, so you might actually have to remove the little connector area first before you unmove the screws, or maybe you can just barely fit it in there to unscrew it. I don't know. These 2 screws on top is gonna just stink if you want to uninstall these. Now for the top side of the case, you of course got another magnetic thing on here, which is pretty awesome. You can actually see where you install your IO for your screws and stuff, which is awesome. And then we have our connections right here. So we have a few different things. So we have one Type-C port for the Type-C header. We have a USB port right here. I assume this is USB 3.2. And then we have an analog for aux in for your mic, aux out for your actual headsets, and also another USB 3. I assume this is USB 3. Usually you can tell because the color indicator is usually the color blue if it's USB 3. If it's black, it's usually USB 2.0 if I'm correct. I'll correct myself in post if these aren't actually what I think they are. And then we have LED lights. Since these are ARGB fans, you can actually click this button to switch them, which is pretty cute. And then we have a power switch right here, of course. Now, an important thing to keep in mind, the maximum width for a GPU length it can actually support is 410 millimeters. So you can support a 3 fan actual GPU and like a beefy GPU at that. So like you'll be able to pretty much fit any GPU on the market inside this case, which is really nice to see, besides maybe one that's like has a ton of actual width. But I don't think there's a GPU that can actually take up all this space on this bottom half here. Now, if you want to put the back panel on, all you have to do is take your nubs, because there's a bit of lighting spots right here you can see. We're going to line this on up with the actual back. And once we have aligned it with the feet on the actual bottom here, we can just slip it on in, then grab our thumb screws from earlier, and then push it to the side and screw it back close. Now for the front panel, you can see there's a little bit of things to bite onto with the actual nubs. So these nubs are going to bite into those exact spots. So what we're going to do is line up the panel and also the nubs on the inside with actually the open spots. Slip it on in like so, push it, now slide it, and with that we can take our thumb screws from earlier and screw them back in. So let's go over my final thoughts now on the Antec C5 ARGB case. Do I think this case is worth it? Do I think it's good? What are my honest thoughts about design? Honestly, I will say one thing, this case looks super freaking clean. Well, the real question is, would I recommend it for somebody who's looking to build a PC right now? So keep in mind, it's around $110 to $109 off Amazon. I would say it depends on a few different things. If you are looking to get a fish tank case and you were looking at like the Antec King 95, which is a similar design and aspect, I'm pretty sure that case comes with at least like 7 or 6 fans. Let me double check. So the Antec King 95 only comes with 6 fans, and it's also currently listed right now. It's going to be $160. So this case saves you around $40 to $50, and on top of that too, it gives you 1 additional fan. So there is some nice value proposition with it, which I'm honestly kind of impressed by. The build quality isn't particularly the best. Compared to like the Antec King 95 Pro, it doesn't come with another front panel. So like the Antec King 95 Pro came with a glass front panel, but also you could switch it to mesh. So there's that, but I don't feel like this additional panel made much sense unless you like the look of it and you have a black version of the King 95 Pro. It doesn't make too much sense otherwise to use this. And also, an important thing about keep in mind is the King 95, the non-Pro version, only comes with 3 fans instead of 6. I gotta give where Antec's credit due, where they actually save you a bit of money from this and actually give you an additional 1 fan. And probably my favorite part about this case so far when I was reviewing it was how they did the SSD and hard drive bay area. Now, you don't get the most hard drive storage particularly in the world, but if you are a gamer looking for a nice case to build in that you only plan to put in like 1 drive, so let's say you have your SSD or your M.2 as your boot drive, right, for like 1 or 2 terabytes, then you get a hard drive for big storage for like 4 or 8 terabytes for your main Steam games. You can actually place that in here. You usually only will buy 1 hard drive unless you're a content creator, and if you're a content creator, you're probably buying multiple drives, so you want to probably have more drive bays. So like This isn't particularly the best case for content creators, but for gamers, it's pretty good option if you are looking to build something on a budget and you do want to actually spend only around like $100 to $110 for a nice PC case. That's my honest thoughts about the Antec C5 ARGB case. If you guys enjoyed this video here today, let me know by smashing the like button and get subscribed, because later here we will be doing a PC build in this case. So if you don't want to miss out on that video, definitely get subscribed. I'll see you for another one. Tech Grant out.